Good morning, class. Welcome back from the weekend. I'm preparing this video for you this morning to help you guys review your homework from the weekend and also take the final step in preparing for our first official class debate, which will be Texas versus Mexico. The document you see in front of you is the main document you had to complete for your homework over the weekend, which was due Sunday evening, so last night. As you can see here, I've completed an example for you, which relates to document A of the document you had to analyze for your assignment. So as you know from the homework, which was posted, right, Texas Revolution debate, you had the document Texas PDF, which included the four main documents you needed to analyze, A, B, C, and D. Once you analyzed and read those documents, you then filled out the information on this chart here titled Texas Documents, and that was the extent of the assignment. So I've done a sample for you, which is document A, just to give you an idea of how you should be completing it, and you can match yours with mine. Document A was the Texas Declaration of Independence. This was a document that was very closely modeled on the United States Declaration of Independence. But in this case, it was Texas declaring itself independent from the country of Mexico, because again, Texas was part of Mexico at this time. So we have the document, Texas Declaration of Independence. We have Americans and Mexicans that were involved in writing this document, and it was in 1836, because there are Mexicans and Americans living in the area of Texas. Right, Mexicans had already been living there for hundreds of years, and the Americans were newly arrived immigrants who now actually were a larger part of the population. Moving to the right, according to the document, why did Texans decide to declare independence? And provide a quote. I started with my quote first. I led with Santa Anna has overturned the Constitution of his country, which was a true fact. Santa Anna was essentially a military dictator, and when he came into office, he changed the Mexican Constitution and essentially granted himself much more power than the president previously had. So the people of Texas believe they can declare independence because Santa Anna ignores the Constitution of the country. And again, that is a true fact. Moving to the right, do you trust the perspective of this document? There are reasons to trust and distrust this document. It was written by both American and Mexican authors, so they must agree on some things. So there is some validity to this document as it was written by many different authors. That's an example of how you should have analyzed your documents A, B, and C. Who wrote it? In some cases, they give you the exact, author and who they were at the end of the source, right? For all three of these last ones they do. And then you'll provide a quote, and then you'll explain why you trust or distrust the document. That was your homework assignment from the weekend. It was supposed to give you a sense of the two sides to the issue. You have the Americans and some Mexicans who agree with them and say that they should be independent from Mexico. And then you have the country of Mexico itself and many other Mexicans living in the area that are saying these Americans and these few Tejanos who agree with them are out of control and just want to, have their own rules. So those are essentially the two sides of the debate. If you noticed the documents that you analyzed, there were 4 of them total, they went 2 and 2. So for example, you see document A here supports the idea for independence, and you will see that the other documents B, C, and D will either support the idea of independence or will go against it, but it's even. There are 2 for each side. All right, that's going to be useful for what you need to do for today. So that brings us to today. I've posted a document titled Debate Teams. I know that this says period 2, but I will be posting, other documents for each other class. This is just as an example for the video this morning. You can see the two sides of the debate are represented by flags. To the left, we have the flag of Texas, which represents Americans and Tejanos having the right to declare independence. Again, Tejanos are Mexicans who are already living in Texas. And to the right, we have Americans and Tejanos were wrong to declare independence, meaning that Mexico has the right to keep Texas as part of its territory. Those are the two sides of our debate. The documents you analyzed, again from the weekend, supported one of those two sides. 2 for one side, 2 for the other. What you need to do today is complete the rest of those sides, because when we debate in class, I'm looking for 4. 4 is always the number we go to. 4 propositions, 4 major arguments on either side that we build our entire debate upon. You know, it's almost like legs of a table. We need 4 sturdy arguments to build our support. So you have from the weekend 2. You have 2 that supported independence, and you have 2 that supported Mexico in keeping Texas as part of its territory. You're going to use the other documents that were posted with that assignment to fill out the document that you see here, Texas debate. This is the sheet that you are going to use as your reference, as your guide, as we argue tomorrow, and as we complete the online component of the discussion. So this document is, as I've titled here, Organizing the Evidence. You have first, Americans and Tejanos had just cause to declare independence from Mexico. Again, the flag represents the side you support. And then over here on the bottom, you have Mexico, Americans and Tejanos had no right to declare independence, right, represented by the Mexican flag. Your job this evening is to fill out both charts. You're going to fill out the top and you're going to fill out the bottom. Even though you're only going to be arguing for one side tomorrow, it is your job to understand both sides of the debate. That's what makes a great debater, is that you understand your opponent and you are prepared for what their propositions might be. Now, even though we will brainstorm and get into groups tomorrow to prepare ourselves, this chart is your best guess at what each side might use. So I've given you an example of what you're going to be doing for this assignment. For the Texas side, you have document A. We just analyzed it as that example in our assignment, and as I said, it clearly proves that Mexico does not provide security, education, or freedom for its religious citizens. Freedom of religion for its citizens. That information came from the same document as my initial quote. Santa Anna has overturned the Constitution of his country. They failed to do this. They failed to do this. That's going to be my first support for the Texas side. Yeah, you have right to declare independence. If a country or a government doesn't provide security, education, or freedom of religion, or it doesn't pay attention to its own constitution, then I believe the citizens of that country, yeah, they do have a right to declare independence. That would be one argument for this side of the debate. Now let's go to our bottom chart. Document B. This is a document we did not analyze together, but let's take a look at document B. Our source is a letter written by Rafael Antonio Manchola, a Tejano Mexican living in Texas. He wrote this letter about the Anglo-Americans, essentially white Americans, in 1826 to a military commander. We cannot trust the Anglo-American colonists. They are continually demonstrating they refuse to follow our laws unless it is convenient for them. We will have many problems. They have been using their own colonists as judges and practicing their own laws, forgetting that they swore to obey the laws of Mexico. When you look at document B, you realize that this supports the idea that no, you do not have the right to declare independence. You are ignoring Mexican rules. You are doing what you want. You are setting up your own white colonists as judges, but you live in Mexico. That is a clear violation of Mexican rules, so that doesn't give you the right to leave because you just want to do your own thing. So we would use document B as support for the opposition side in this debate, and that you had no right to declare independence. You will do the same for the remaining 2 documents, right? C and D represent different sides of the debate. Look at them, figure out which part of the chart they should go with, right? Do they go up here for the Texas side? Do they go down here for the Mexican side? And then that means you have 2 spots left in each chart. What do you do for arguments 3 and 4 up here? What do you do for arguments 3 and 4 down here? What you will do is you will use the remaining sources that I posted to this assignment. You will use the map that's posted to the assignment. The top part of the map gives you lots of good information on the independence of Texas. Use that map. In addition, you have the background essay. This is a very good source with more than 2 arguments for each side that you could use to help fill out your chart. All right, this is the background on the Texas Revolution. You will use the map, you will use the background essay to complete the remaining 2 arguments for each side of the chart. When you come to the debate tomorrow for class, you will have the charts completed, And then tomorrow, once we discuss and we argue, via audio, via, live conversation, via this online component, maybe Padlet, maybe something else, you guys will be completing the back of this based on what the rebuttals and the propositions that actually come up. All right. These charts are your preparation for the debate and proof to me that you are prepared and you've gone through the necessary documents.